when you have your own thing, you don't want to be working for
No,
anyone else, for
absolutely.
sure.
Trust me. No, I know. You must imagine you're really young, so you probably gave up a lot during that time. And when you're young, it's really hard to give up a lot.
Yeah, I guess I got used to being busy because
Mm.
when I was in school, I was in school full time and then working almost full time. So it would be like school
Jeez.
morning, work in the afternoon,
Yeah.
coffee shop for homework. So
Oh,
my
nice.
days were
Yeah.
pretty long.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter if other people doubt
Oh
you
yeah.
because it can get inside, but it's like, really, do you doubt yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And if you doubt yourself, that's where like the poison really comes in. Hey guys, so today we're here with Jules Arballo, and I had to practice that a few times because I kept adding an E for some reason. But look, it's really, really interesting, how me and you met because it was through a mutual connection that we both know, and they thought that you were a really, really interesting person to have on the show. And the more that I kind of got to know you before, we actually did this, it seems like you really have your hands in everything.
Yeah.
And that's like the epitome of what this show is just people who are like not satisfied with the social norm of, you have your job, you have your career, and then you go till you're 65, you retire, and then you die.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So tell me a little bit about the things that you've done, the things that you're doing, and why you just have to do so much.
Okay. So I own a coffee shop in South Phoenix with my mom, and that's kind of like the main business that I dreamt of since college, though. But I was working for corporate all through high school, all through college, and I didn't want to be there. Like,
Why not?
I don't like working for people.
Yeah.
And I've always been that way. I've never really liked working for anyone. I wanted to do my own thing for as long as I can remember. But I was always kind of sucked into that. No, you need a normal job, like a career that's already been done.
Yeah.
And the entrepreneurship was never really offered to me. I was never told, like, create your own thing. So that's when I started exploring. I quit my corporate job without having a backup and got into my own journey, just trying to figure it out mainly. And then
That's really interesting because I mean I did the same thing, but I didn't really go into the kind of the retail front store type of place, right? With that, I feel like there would be so much more to figure out, right?
Yeah.
Because there's just, I think, more connections, more things that you have to do in order for it to function. It's not just where you're going to source the beans from. It's how are you gonna who's paying for the lights and who are you gonna talk to about that and who are you gonna talk to about the building and like all those things. So how did you figure all those things out when you first started? Like what was the mindset going into that?
for the coffee shop, it was a team effort because my mom wanted something to fall back on when she retired from her corporate job. So we got together in like 2016 in the spring and started planning again. We had planned for 4 years already, but came to a stopping point because it was all about finance and location. How are we going to pay for it? Where are we going to go?
Yeah.
So we revisited the idea and started planning again. A week later, we saw a place for sale in the area we wanted. So we had the meeting, and within another week, we were in an agreement. So everything was just very aligned. And huge believer in law of attraction. And when you're ready for something, it comes.
Yeah.
And it's not about knowing how it's going to come or when.
Yeah.
It's just,
last two episodes, I don't know why. It's just you get propelled when you're in the right lane.
Yeah.
You can go 50 years in the wrong thing, but when you find that right thing within 2 weeks, like you said, you just shoot up. And it is crazy that I always thought it was like just that's what was meant for you. But yeah, law of attraction, I just totally forgot about law of attraction.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And I started reading about law of attraction maybe 6 years ago or so. So the more I've grown, like there's always something new that comes to play.
Yeah.
So we had our meeting, we made the agreement, and by the summer we assumed the lease in the location we're at. So within that time, we did have to find like who's going to be our resource for coffee and how are we going to pay for it. But when you really want something, you figure it out. So we didn't have like a grant or loan or anything. We just kind of looked at our finances. Okay, what can we do? Let's do it.
What was the biggest hurdle you had to overcome when you did that project?
Honestly, I think it was the opening. Like, who's going to show up? Because we did our marketing as much as we could through social media mainly and just getting the word out. We did a soft opening in September and then like the grand opening in October. But it was just all about like, who's going to walk through that door and where are we going to connect other than through coffee.
Yeah.
But since the 3 years that we've been open, we've had like 90% of our customers as regulars, and we've developed such personal relationships with almost every single one. And that was something I could never predict. So I knew I wanted to serve the community because I live in the area too.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was going to be so personal with everyone. Like I've developed clients because I'm also a personal trainer, and I've just friendships in general. So it's pretty amazing what can happen.
Yeah. How do you feel about the term, the more hands you shake, the more money you'll make?
Ooh. I actually haven't heard that.
Really?
Maybe once in my life, but I've never really like kept it in mind.
Yeah.
But it's
feel
very true. Yeah.
That's what like most of your success has been, just the seeing more and more faces. Yeah, like the people.
Absolutely.
Have most of your clients been people that have been referred by other clients?
No, they're actually just connections. 2 of them were through the shop. One I just met her as a customer, and the other had a mutual friend that we were connected by, but also really met her at the shop. And then a third one we actually met through Instagram years ago, but she also lives in the area, so we met in person through the coffee shop. So that coffee shop has been a very good place for me to connect in person with a lot of people.
Well, I mean, when you think of coffee shops, you think of like Starbucks, right? And it's like the place you go to work, and like you meet people at like coffee shops, and you own the coffee shops. It's like inevitable that you're gonna meet people. You have like kind of the best possible solution to like meeting people, you know? But you also mentioned that you do personal training, right?
Yes.
And how do you find the time? Because again, I feel that when you have some sort of a product or a business, it's very, very different than when it's brick and mortar and you have a shop and a store, right? That requires you to actually be there, because if you're not, then you're not really able to control it very well, right?
Right.
So how do you find the time to do the personal training and then also have the business?
So the first year when we were open for the shop, me and my mom were still working at our corporate jobs. Obviously, I was part-time, but I was there for a year, and maybe like 6 months in, I was already ready to go. Because when you have your own thing, you don't want to be working for anyone else, for sure.
Trust me, I know.
So I was trying to find a ticket out. Like, what can I do to get some income, even a little chunk, like, and survive and still do the coffee shop and still kind of create my own schedule. And I'm really into fitness. I got into fitness back in like 2012 for personal reasons.
Yeah, you wear the jacket so they can't see your guns.
Yeah, you know. But I started studying. I said, I'll just make the investment to become a personal trainer, and that will be my side hustle sort of thing. So I worked with my job and said, I'm going back to school. Okay. So I need to cut my hours even more. So I was working like 2 days a week, 10-hour days at my corporate job while studying for personal training. I went through NASM, so it's all online. And then the shop. So being there, I think it was 4 or 5 days a week at that time. So it took me, I think I started studying in the summer, and then it took me quite a few months to get my certification.
Do you hate like corporate jobs that much, or like what was your driving? Because I mean, I don't think anybody really hates corporate jobs that much, but what was the thing that just kept you going through that time? Because you had 3 things, right? Like, I mean, I've experienced 2. I've experienced school and work.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. But I've never had well, I mean, I kind of do right now. But I mean, not when I was that young, and I must imagine you're really young, so you probably gave up a lot during that time. And when you're young, it's really hard to give up a lot.
Yeah, I guess I got used to being busy, because when I was in school, I was in school full time and then working almost full time. So it would be like school morning, work in the afternoon, coffee shop for homework. So
Oh,
my
nice.
days were
Yeah.
pretty long.
Yeah.
So I've always been used to that. And I think when I graduated ASU, I was at the corporate job and that was my one thing.
Yeah.
And that's where I got stuck. The money was good, you know, but being scheduled 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to sit in a chair,
Oh, dude, yeah, it's rough.
strict lunches and breaks and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
they dock you like if you're late 1 second, it was just, I got to get out.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to really make time to find my other thing while I was there. So that's
Yeah.
why I took the risk to leave the first time. Like,
How'd
okay,
you-
I gotta go.
How did you find, like, stumble upon, like, the coffee shop and the fitness? Was it something that just kind of came to you and you were just like an idea and you were like, yeah, cool? Or was it something that you were searching for and it eventually came?
The coffee shop was more planned than anything. The personal training, like I said, was just my ticket out. So I needed to find that to quit my corporate job again. And when I got my certification, no, actually, I quit before I got my certification.
Oh,
So
really? Good
I
for you.
quit after
That's
a
cool.
year at the
Walking
corporate
by
job
faith.
again. Yeah. So I just, you know, worked with my boyfriend at the time because we had a house. I'm like, okay, can you handle the bills? Like that was
Yeah.
like extreme teamwork at that time. Like, can you handle the bills? I'm gonna quit my job. I'm not gonna get any income right now,
Yeah.
but it's temporary. So
Yeah.
he handled a lot, and then I just kind of kept studying my butt off and got my certification. Got 2 clients in December of 2017, I believe, and then my third one was about a few months later. So
How long was it between quitting and customer?
probably a month and a half.
Oh, you got lucky.
Yeah.
See, I always hear about these stories of people that go on to like entrepreneurship and quit their job and go 6 months without getting customers, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I would die. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. That to me requires such like a strong will, I guess, to keep going, to have no customers and just really keep,
Yeah.
doing your thing. But even then, for like a month and a half, what were you thinking like while that was happening?
Nothing. I just kept moving.
Really?
Yeah, that's all I
You're too
do.
too busy to even
Yeah,
think.
like I knew I was going to get my certification. I knew I was
Mm-hmm.
going to get clients because I had already talked to a couple people that I was studying,
Mm-hmm.
and they said they were interested once I get certified. So
Yeah.
my disclosure before I got certified was like, look, I'm not legitimately
Mm-hmm.
certified, but it's coming, and I know what
Yeah.
I'm doing. I've been working out and kind of learning along the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's something to be said about like the way that you thought. You were just so certain about what was coming to you. And that's really a factor that you have to have, because the moment that you doubt yourself, I mean, it doesn't matter if other people doubt you,
Oh, yeah.
because it can get inside, but it's like, really, do you doubt yourself? And if you doubt yourself, that's where like the poison really comes in. It doesn't matter what everybody else say, it only says
Yeah.
like what you say. So through like everything that you've done, who do you take inspiration from? Who do you listen to? Who do you allow in your head, so that way you keep going?
It's all the books I read and like the podcasts over time that I've come about, like Lewis House, Grant Cardone, Ed Milet, all those people. I take info from each one and the people that they interview too.
Yeah.
It's like Marie Forleo, or however you say her name.
Farello?
Farella, whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't know
guessing-
how to
I'm
say
guessing,
it,
I think I
but
said.
so just like a lot of those people I take info from,
Mm-hmm.
and then again the books that I read, and then I just apply it to my life.
Yeah.
I don't really have any examples in person. Like, I wish I could say parents or like, family or friends, but I was asked that in a previous interview, like, who are your role models
Yeah.
or mentors? I'm like, I don't have any.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, because the thing that really makes this a great interview is that you're relatable to the goals and dreams that a lot of people are going to have, right? So you take from all these people. I took from a lot of these people too, right? If you think Grant Cardone, what's the thing that most people should take from him?
He's more about like the money, hustling that money.
Find your money.
Yeah.
Find your money, basically.
Who's got my money?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
his
yeah.
big thing. So
Yeah.
he knows money. Like, I think you talked about it. I don't know in what, maybe it was one of your episodes, but it was like, people don't understand how easy it is to make money. You just got to find a way. They think the only way is the 9 to 5.
Yeah. Well, you got to find what to sell.
Yeah.
That's really all it comes
Yeah.
down to. It's like, what can you
Find
sell?
your niche.
I went from the person that told me this. They said, stop selling things that pay you $50 commissions. Start selling things that pay you $1,000 commissions. Because one month I sold 60 of something, and he's like, you made $3,000. He's like, you should have made $60 grand.
Oh.
So it's like, he's like, change your thinking, change your ask, and you'll get more. So I was like, that's fucking genius.
Yeah.
So when you hear certain things like that, it does really change, but it almost comes down to like, are you listening? Right? And at the time, what's important to you?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've seen, but like sometimes you listen to Grant Cardone twice and you're like, how did I miss that the first time?
Yeah.
Right? What other things do you think people tend to lack, like in listening, that you pick up very quickly that allowed you to get to this point?
I think it's the execution, because a lot of people, they'll come to me like for advice on business, and especially even more the past couple weeks. And they're just like, I have this idea. But the minute they say, I'm scared, or like, this could go wrong, I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
Like all of that shit will go wrong. But if you hold on to that fear of it, you're never going to go, because you're too busy focusing on what could go wrong instead of what could go right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like the more and more like I do things and just do it, the less scared I am.
Yeah, don't
Like,
say Nike, because the last video I was like, can we say Nike?
Nike?
Yeah, because with the just do it. I don't know about copyright infringement yet, so I'm like very careful about stuff.
Oh,
but
okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, but it really is all about action.
Yeah. And that's what people don't have. They just get scared to do it because they think they can't. It's that doubt that everyone has.
Yeah. If you could start a business right now, just like, doesn't matter if you had money or anything, like, what would that be?
I think if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now and I could do anything, it'd be like 100% published author.
Really?
That's it. Just writing books, publishing,
That's cool.
traveling, using that as my ticket to travel, like all those
That's a
launches.
difficult one. It really is, because you gotta you gotta know how to write, and then the building the audience, I hear, is brutal. For them to actually pay you, because most people that write books nowadays, they don't do it for the actual money, they do it for the publicity.
Yeah.
But to actually get, you're talking like a J.K. Rowling, like Harry Potter type, like that's gonna make millions off. But yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Why do you like writing, or what
I've always
sparked that?
been into English and like writing and reading since I was a kid. I have my bachelor's in English. I was going to be an English high school teacher. Like, it's always been in me, and I've always loved writing, like just for fun.
Yeah.
So I did write a book in 2015 and self-published that. Very simple book.
What's it called?
30 Days of Motivation to Success.
Okay. And can we link it in the YouTube?
No.
Not
Not yet. It doesn't have a link because it's a paper copy that I just had printed.
We're gonna find it, y'all.
But I'm gonna make it into an ebook. That way it will be accessible.
Okay.
Through a link.
Okay.
When I get
when it becomes available, we're
Yeah.
gonna find this book, and we're gonna.
Yeah.
And if we find it before, I want to do that too.
Good luck.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
So
you did publish it though?
Yeah, it was all self-published, just kind of like experimenting with it. Like,
was that the book you told me that you were selling at the coffee shop?
Yeah, I got a lot of people seeing it there again, so I redid like the cover and the font inside just so it was a little more easier to read.
Yeah.
And had a few more copies sold there.
Okay.
So.
But we can't
it's
have
still
it.
there, eventually.
Okay.
But because of that, like, I do want to be an author. I will be an author. I'm working on my second book, and I've been saying I'm going to write my second book since I published this last one in 2015. So I'm currently working with a friend who's going to start publishing books, and it's going to happen this year.
What's that one going to be? And you're on camera now, so you have to do it.
Oh no, I know.
Do you know about that? How you change?
Huh?
Do you know about that rule about how you change?
How I change?
Yeah, like how people change, what you need to do.
No.
So the first thing is you make the decision. Like people in New Year's resolutions, they say like, I want to change, and you know, like, oh, okay, you know what, I'm done, being overweight or whatever it is. But the second thing that people don't do is they don't tell enough people about it.
Oh, okay.
To where they're embarrassed if like if you tell 1,000 people I'm gonna lose weight and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You have to live with yourself and knowing that people, like, I'm okay with myself calling myself a liar, right? But when 1,000 people are calling me a liar, I don't like that, So you're on camera now.
Yeah.
And we're going to see this book by the end of the year at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what I told my friend today. We had a meeting and I told him about this interview today, and I said, I'm sure it's going to come up and it's going to be like even more out there. Because I haven't told too many people yet, but I'll post like on Instagram or something when I'm writing, like, you know, second book in the works. Like,
Yeah.
so enough people do know about it. And that's why I made my deadlines. I made my goals on how I'm going to execute that.
Yeah. What's the name of it?
No name yet.
Okay. It better not come out as no name.
Still writing.
Yeah. What's the theme? Can we know the theme?
Yeah. So all my books are, well, the one book obviously is like more of a self-help book. These ones, so it's going to be a series. It's not just my second book. I have an idea for an actual series. And it's, again, self-help, but different areas of life. So just different experiences and how to react and handle them and all the millions of ways that we can do it.
Yeah. What do you think is the one, since we're talking about self-help, what do you think is the one major thing that people need the most help with in their life?
I think it's just self-confidence, self-growth. A lot of people are stuck into the people-pleasing role.
Okay.
To where they are so concerned about what someone's going to think if they do a specific thing or say a specific thing. They want to sugarcoat everything.
And how do you get past that? Because you are a fitness coach, but you're also a lifestyle coach and mindset. So how do you get past that?
You got to find yourself. You got to figure out what do you want and notice that people don't really care. Like you're creating more stress and more anxiety, like just by worrying about what someone might think when they probably don't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
And it's just about like understanding, like you got to do what's what's going to make you happy.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that like criticize Steve Jobs when he went to India. I think he went to India, right? That's what it was. I don't know. Yeah, when he didn't finish high school or something like that, and he went to India to find himself, and it even took me a while to really think and like reflect on why he did this. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, he went, and you know, of course he had a good family, and you know, they were well off. Of course he was adopted, but it makes sense that he left. You know, it makes sense that he left because when you're kind of all go in your teens, you know, you have that problem of confidence. You have that problem of not knowing who you are because you go from high school, getting thrown into a job, getting thrown into like, you know, college and everything. So it really is important to find yourself and know who you are and be able to develop as a person before you kind of just say like, I want to start a business, and they're like, well, we don't like your product, and you go and you're like crying, you're like, God, you know, they don't like me. So it makes a lot of sense that you're saying that. Now with the mindset coaching that you're doing, you told me like you're not actually set up for that, but you're already identifying as a mindset coach.
Yeah.
And I thought that was super cool and like interesting because the amount of confidence and the amount of like vision that you have to have in order to see that is tremendous. Like I, before starting a marketing company, never said I'm a marketer, right? So why do you identify yourself already as a mindset coach?
Because of how far I've come already with myself, I just finally gained clarity to see like how to navigate through certain life experiences. Mainly, like I'm looking at your sign that says no negativity.
There's a bunch of cool
mainly,
ones there.
And that's kind of the thing. Like so many people are stuck on like complaining, and it's because it's the norm. It's the majority that does it all. Like people hate Mondays. People look forward to the weekend. They live for the weekend. People like don't like doing certain things, like everyday things, such as like getting gas in their car just because they don't want to. Like all these things I can go on, but it's just because it's the norm.
Yeah.
Like people dread Monday and they take the energy down. People just kind of like gravitate towards it just to connect. Yeah. And me, on the other hand, if someone complains about a Monday or complains about something, I'm like, well, then do something about it. Like if you don't like, why don't you like Mondays?
Yeah.
Or why don't you like whatever? Like it just doesn't fly with me.
Yeah.
Like I just refuse to be dragged down from anyone like that.
How do you hold that mental position? Like if somebody were to say like it's hard, right? Because that's the reality of it is most people just say it's hard.
Yeah.
How do you hold that mental position and like teach somebody to do that?
Just kind of showing them the basics, I guess. You gotta, like, if you want to list all the negative things, do that. But then it's all about shifting how you see it. Like, I've done a few online fitness challenges, which I call Fit Mind, Fit Body. And every week they get they have specific workouts, but every week was a mindset challenge. One of those mindset challenges was have to versus get to. So, example,
Okay.
I have to go to work today. No, you get to go to work. Like just seeing
Okay.
everything as opportunities.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just like one easy way to shift it.
Yeah. I've been even this what? Well, no, last week it was Thursday or Friday or something like that. At the end of the week, I was getting sick, and I mean, guys, when we get sick, we're just complete babies about it. But I was driving, and there's this thing that Brad Lee, do you know Brad Lee?
Mm-hmm.
He says, living with a attitude of gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I thought, like, man, I'm so tired and blah blah. And as I'm complaining, I thought, man, I get to live today. Like I get to live today. Like today I get to live, right?
Yeah.
And that changed my whole shift, right? Because it doesn't matter if I'm sick or not. Like I get to live today and most people don't. And that is a huge, like, I don't want to say advantage. I'm thinking advantage because of the fact that that's the word that I can think of, but it's such a blessing, right? So it is one of those things that we have to like learn to kind of teach people that you're right. I don't get to. Wait, I'm sorry.
You don't have to, you get to.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Saved.
Yeah.
So no, that's cool. What else do you think that like within the next how old are you?
31.
Okay. What do you think I'm sorry if I
It's okay.
okay. In the next 5 years, like what does that look like for you? I know you got big plans. So
I
like
do.
and I've talked to other people that are like, well, I can't share that with you because it's all undercovers. But can you?
Yeah.
Is that something you can share?
I mean, I can't predict it, but the way I'm going, I mean, maybe my entire series of books will be out in 5 years. Maybe I'll have my third one of the series in 5 years. So that's that. As far as the coffee shop, we always plan for expansion and growth. So I don't know if we'll still be in that location, but we always talk about either relocating or expanding in some way. So I feel for sure that will be within the 5 years.
Yeah. What can you tell someone who is like in that position right now where they want growth, right? Where they want growth. People that not necessarily are making excuses, they just don't know what like to do to move forward. What's the next step for those people? Like what would be the first thing? I mean, we've talked about conferences before, we've talked about, just do it, things like that. But when you're really, really stuck in that mindset and you want to move forward, you just don't know how, what would you recommend to those people?
I always tell them just to write. Like writing does help. So if whether they have a plan or not of what they want to do or how they want to change or anything, just write it down and try to figure out a plan of action. Like what can you do every day or even every week to move forward? Like you don't ever want to move back, obviously, but just to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's what I always say. Like even if you don't know, you got to keep moving. You can't just sit there because you don't know. Like that goes into like just getting comfortable and settling, and you're gonna feel miserable every day. So like that's how I was when I quit my first job. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just did something.
Yeah.
And did it stick? No, but it got me to my next part of my journey. So the path's always gonna change, but you just got to keep going.
We do these things where we take quotes from the interview and we post them as like your own personal quote, and I think that that's probably going to be your quote for that one. No, because that's a really, really good way of putting it. The past's always going to shift, but you're always going to get where you need to be, Like, I don't know how else to better say it. Like, it doesn't matter what path you take because you'll get there. You're going to be a great mindset coach.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, I know how fast this usually goes, but we're kind of pretty much there. I mean, is there a final thought that you kind of want to give out, something that you're working on, something that you want to share?
I'm working more on my coaching part, just to have more of a platform to provide to more people than just meeting one-on-one. So like creating programs that people can buy online, whether it be for fitness or mindset or both. Usually they tie in together no matter what. And then just doing more one-on-one coaching through video. So no matter where you live, like I'll have access to anyone.
Yeah.
That's kind of on my list of things to do this year.
Yeah. Anyone you want to give a last shout out to before we close this up?
Yeah.
Your mom, your family, anyone? No?
Well, everybody, yeah. Now you put me on the spot.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, good.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So we're with Jules Arballo, and this was it for the kill. Hey, I appreciate everything. I'm glad that you came on, especially
Thank
since it
you.
was a little last minute. And you know what? We can shout out Ivan because Ivan was the one that
Yes.
actually introduced us, and
Yeah.
that's really
And they did
the
reach
power of
out.
networking. So
Yeah.
until next time, guys. This was Jules. Feel free to reach out to her if you guys have any questions about fitness, about mindset, about how you can really improve yourself, and we'll catch you on the next one.